What was that one name?
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started in just a second here. We're grateful to have you guys all on the webinar this morning. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today is week 2 of our new Business Builder Boot Camp. I'm Wendy Frazier, and I've got Ellie Headley with me.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back.
We'd love to do a quick audio check. When we reviewed our audio for last week, it was a little bit muffled. So anybody that's on there, there's a little chat window. If you could just send us a message that the audio is good, that would be awesome. So I want to wait just a second, see if we can just get a little feedback there. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Janice. All right, very good. Okay, well, here we go, week 2. We're really excited that you guys have taken the time to be here and create some space to get a little bit more educated and a little bit more inspired to build your doTERRA business. So first of all, we want to kind of just have you reflect on how last week went. You know, how did you feel about last week? And just review some of the things of the assignments that we left you with to really get you started on the right foot. So hopefully you were able to create your list of 100 names. If you were not, that's okay. We're going to give you some tools to kind of help you if you had trouble doing that. One of those is we're going to post it. I'm going to post it in the files section of the doTERRA Business Builder or the Healing Solutions Business Builder Facebook group. And it's just a memory jogger. Kind of like if you're having trouble coming up with 100 people, it'll ask you like, you know, who cuts your hair, or, you know, who is in your kids' class, and just different things like that. So we're going to post that if you had trouble, but hopefully you were able to get a really good amount of names on your list. Also, hopefully you were able to connect with your mentor or somebody to help you set goals and and decide, help you get really clear on what it is you really want to do. We're hoping that you were able to journal your why. That is a really powerful exercise. And, of course, share samples with, 5 to 10 people. And we would love to hear how that went at the end of this webinar. We'll open up for a little bit of feedback. But hopefully that was really good for you guys. And then also getting a hold of GoPro or the Slight Edge and starting to really work on your mindset so that your personal development is going to match the growth of your business. So hopefully that went really, really well with you guys. The cool thing about this webinar is this slide, this training, this might look really familiar to you, like a slide that you saw last week. And one of the things that we really love about growing a business with doTERRA is that you're not going to hear any new earth-shattering information. There's not going to be any secrets, you're going to see a lot of the same things over and over again. And that's actually a really big comfort, because that is, that should bring comfort in that you realize that it's really not anything special. It's just being consistent. And just doing sort of these same behaviors over and over again consistently can create some really wonderful and powerful things in your life. And so basically what it comes down to is that we share, we teach, and we get mentored, or we mentor others. And it doesn't change for any of us. So just kind of a review. I'm going to turn this over to Ellie. Just kind of a review of basically what are some of the 6 daily questions that we ask ourselves.
Okay, so last week we touched on all of them, but we kind of wanted you to focus on the two, number 1 and number 6. So who will I share oils with? And we recommend 5 to 10 per week, right, that you're sharing oils with 5 to 10 people per week. And this really depends on the rate that you want your business to grow. And it is very simple. It's a simple process. We'll talk a little bit about sharing in a couple of slides. But, you want to share powerfully and with confidence, but we will talk about that in a few minutes. And then as you continue through these weeks, once you've held a class, you're going to go back and you're going to look through some of these other questions, like who has attended a class that I will follow up with, who has enrolled that I will help better understand LRP, who is using the product that I want to talk to about the business, and who is building that I will support. And then the last, of course, and Wendy's already mentioned this a little bit, which is what will I read, watch, or listen to that will help me grow as a leader. Remember, like Wendy said, these are simple things, simple daily tasks that you can do to grow your business. It's not really anything spectacular. It's just sharing powerfully with amazing oils that we have and getting these oils into people's hands, because everybody needs oils.
Thank you. Okay, so this next slide talks about the questions that you're going to ask yourself on a monthly basis. So there's on a weekly basis. There's 6 daily questions, 3 weekly questions. So, it's awesome that you're here on this webinar. This absolutely, qualifies as a team meeting. Also, our team call on Tuesdays. And then making sure that you're talking to somebody to make your mentor, an accountability partner, to set goals and keep yourself on track. And then, yes, if, like Ellie said, if you're going to want to grow this business and create income, then you're going to be teaching in a class every single week. Now, don't let that freak you out, because we're going to walk you through that. But and the other thing, too, is that we don't want you to worry about, oh, no, I'm not sure that I've got, people that will come. We're going to help kind of walk you through that process. And the other thing, too, is that if you don't feel confident in teaching your own class, then you have others that can help you. And so don't worry about that. But that is the key. The key to creating income is having weekly events. So that's part of that. And now, so now what we want you to do is we want you to think about and review that names list that you created. And we want you to split it into 2 parts: people that are local in your town and people that are out of town. And it is a lot easier to grow your business locally, but it absolutely is also possible to do it via Skype and Google Hangouts and things like that. So what we want you to start doing those is split that list in 2 and again, organize them into local and into out-of-towners. And what we're going to have you do, I think our next slide is going to show you is that we're going to actually have you schedule a class is what we want you to do. We want you to schedule a class. That's going to be one of your assignments for this week. And do not worry about, are people going to come? Or that's not what you're going to do. And I love the visual of build it and they will come. If you guys remember that movie Field of Dreams, I really love that. And I feel like for me, at least, growing my business, that's exactly what I did. I would schedule a class, and then it was like build it and they will come. So that's a really important principle. We're going to talk really quickly here, though, about just kind of looking forward and planning your time. I'm going to pass Ellie the phone right here to talk about this.
Okay, so the first thing to do is decide how many classes do you want to have per month, right? And this will depend on how fast you want to grow your business and how much income you want to make in doTERRA. So the recommendation is that if you just want to get your oils for free, that you have 1 to 2 classes per month. But if you want to generate an income with doTERRA, you really want to build this business, you want to perhaps, either supplement your current income or maybe even eventually transition out of your current job and do doTERRA full time, which is what I did, then you're going to want to schedule more classes than that. You're probably going to want to schedule 1 to 2 classes per week if possible. Okay, and the more classes you have, the more money you're going to make, and the faster your team's going to grow. And once you start building that momentum, you want to keep that momentum going. Don't stop. Strike while the iron's hot. I had a conversation with a new builder recently, and she said, should I space out my classes? I feel like I'm having too many and everybody's interested this month. Should I push them out to next month? I said, absolutely not. Schedule the classes as soon as they want them. Do not hold back. Strike while the iron's hot. Okay, and then you're going to set up some out-of-town classes, and you're going to kind of decide where your out-of-town area is. Is it an area that you can get to fairly easily, or are we talking about out-of-state and you might need to do some webinars? And we can absolutely help you with that. Like Wendy said, there's Google Hangout. There's various ways that you can do an out-of-area class, but do not limit yourself to only people that are near you. And then let's start by setting up your local classes. And then what you want to do is watch some videos on how to teach a class and how to close a class. If you go into YouTube and type in doTERRA how to teach a class or doTERRA how to close a class, you're going to get a whole bunch of different videos, and we can probably make some really awesome recommendations there. I know Teresa Harding has a really great one on how to close a class. And I probably would focus on edge success on how to teach a class because they use a very simple and straightforward process that is absolutely fantastic, and it's super easy to teach and very, very effective. So pick a date and then start inviting your local people. And you're going to see on one of the next slides, we recommend that you absolutely invite 2 to 3 times the amount of people that you want to attend that class, because it never fails. Somebody always doesn't show up. It never fails. So over invite, but actually let me go on to the next slide, I think. Okay. All right. So like Wendy said, if you build it, they will come. This is time and time again. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting a lot of people that are saying they can't come. But you know what? I still held to the date. And if I had 3 to 4 people that showed up, or even 1 to 2 people that showed up, I was happy, right? The ideal class size is 5 to 8 people, especially when you're just getting started. More than that can be overwhelming, and you might need, some additional support there. But 5 to 8 people is a sweet spot with a class. I absolutely love that size group, and I focus on that. However, I'm not going to lie, there's been classes where I've had 1 to 2 people that have showed up, and those have been fantastic classes. We've also had classes that have had 14 to 20 people, and they're pretty good too. I still think 5 to 8 is a great group of people. So set your date, set your location, use your list to powerfully invite using permission-based language. I'm going to let Wendy go ahead and talk about that because we had an awesome conversation this morning about this.
Okay, sure, for sure. Okay, so I love this because this is, one of the things we were talking about is that, growing a doTERRA business takes effort, and it takes being really intentional, but it's not difficult. Really the principles is that we want to help people. We're going to share, we're going to teach, we're going to enroll, and we're going to get mentoring and be mentored. And so one of the things that I think is really streamlined is our team has really switched over to the EDGE philosophy and some of the EDGE principles because it creates, in my opinion, this is 3 years I've been doing doTERRA, it has created a really simple flow of conversation in sharing. So basically, permission-based language comes down to 2 phrases that I want you to remember. One is, I'm just curious, and the other is, would it be okay if? And so I want you to think about this logically. If you're going to invite somebody, one of the first questions that you can ask is, hey, I'm just curious. what do you know about essential oils? Or I'm just curious, have you ever used essential oils? Or I'm just curious, would you be interested in learning more about essential oils? That I'm just curious. And the thing that I think is so important about this language is that it takes the pressure off. If you're somebody who's feeling at all insecure about pressuring or feeling salesy, just think about if somebody says to you, hey, I'm just curious, do you automatically go, oh, this person's trying to sell me something? No, you think, oh, okay, they're just curious. And then, if they say, gosh, I don't know very much about essential oils, or I'd like to learn more, then the next question that you're going to ask is, would it be okay if I taught you a little bit more about essential oils, or would it be okay if I shared some essential oils with you? What are your top health concerns, or what are some things that you want to work on, or just that kind of language. But the principle is, I'm just curious, and would it be okay with? And so if you can remember those two phrases, it's going to make your sharing feel really natural and really authentic, because it'll help to remind you that we are just curious and we do want permission. We're not trying to force people into doing something that they don't want to do, but we know that we have something really awesome to share with them. And I just love that language. And so we also have on here that, if you've got people on your team who are also doing the business and they're coming to your class, you want to make sure and teach them the same thing, that you want to get the best bang for your buck. So if you're having a class and there's other people that are interested, make sure that class gets really great attendance and a really good use of everybody's time by inviting lots of people and having your new builders invite people too. And so I love that permission-based language, and I agree with Ellie. I love that class size too of 5 to 8 people. And so what if somebody let's see, let me look at the next slide, because I want to see if we're doing our script just yet. No, we're going to go into a script, I think, in just a second. And so what if someone says that they can't come but they're interested? What do you do, Ellie? Because I think I know exactly what you do.
Yeah, so if somebody tells me they can't make it to that class, and I've invited them maybe 1 or 2 times to classes, and there's a reason why they can't come each time, then I say, you've mentioned to me that you're interested in the oil, so when are you available? I'll come to you. And that really kind of puts them on the spot a little bit, and they get excited because I'm willing to spend my time to come to them. So this just happened to me for this coming week. So I said, you know what, I'm completely open next week during the day. It seems like the evenings are really hard for you. Why don't I come to you on, whatever day it is, such Tuesday at noon, and we'll sit down for 30 to 45 minutes, and I'll show you the oils that I have, and we can talk through them there. So that's what I do, and I absolutely love one-on-ones. I think that there's several people on my team that love one-on-ones. You feel really comfortable in that environment usually, and you're able to answer all their questions and stay focused on them, and you know that you have their undivided attention. So they're extremely effective. It's obviously we want to host classes because people can, feed off of each other and share their experiences, and people get excited when there's there's a lot of people in the group. But I tell you, my one-on-ones have been very, very effective. So don't give up on somebody just because they keep saying, no, they're not interested. And I will also just go back to say that I think Wendy invited me to at least 6 or 7 classes, and I couldn't come to any of them. It took me about 3 or 4 months, and then finally, guess what? She knocked on my door, and she said, hey, how are those samples that I gave you? And I said, well, I think they worked, and I wasn't sure at the time. And she said, well, when do you have time that we can sit down and I can show you the rest of the oils? And I said, oh, well, and I picked a random time because I'm thinking she's probably going to be like, oh, no, I'm not busy. Or that I'm busy. And I said, Friday at 11 is the only time that works for me. And guess what? She knocked on my door on Friday at 11, and we've never looked back since. So, so don't give up on people just because they don't really understand the value yet because they have not been to a class.
I love that. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, so this is kind of a principle. I like to think about principles, and so if you think about it, if you're really intending to grow doTERRA as a business and you're really wanting to share, but you're walking around and you don't ever have samples on you, and you don't have cards with brochures, you don't have invitations, you don't have hostess gifts, prepared, have you really created space in your life that this is really, that you're serious about it. And so, so I would invite you to always carry with you oils to share, to have your sample vials. That was one of the things we encouraged you to get last week from Aroma Tools. Cards or brochures. I love that Modern Essentials bookmark. It's my favorite, and it's very inexpensive, 15 cents. And then invitations. One of the other things that I do want to tell you about, and I will also put this in the file section of our Business Builder Facebook group, is Diane Shepard has a little prize drawing. She calls it the Golden Ticket. And it's a little, you can buy them at My Oil Business, and they're really inexpensive. And it says name, email address, and phone number. And then it says, I'm interested in learning more about essential oils, getting them at wholesale, or becoming an essential oil educator. And she carries them around in her purse, and she says whenever she goes out, she puts a lot of wild orange on. And people will usually say, oh my gosh, what's that smell? And it opens up a conversation about her essential oils. And then she says to them, I do a giveaway every single week. Would you like to be entered into my prize drawing giveaway? And she has these little, tickets, these forms in her purse all the time. And she said, guess what? If somebody says yes, they fill that out, and she said they win every single time. And she will take a sample to their house. That's the prize, is usually a sample and a little booklet or of some kind of information. And that's a really wonderful way to share. But it's also a principle that if this is your business and you treat it like a business and you're always prepared like a business, then it opens up space to have those experiences. So I really like that. And then a hostess gift where applicable, and we can talk about that in just another slide, I think. Okay, so this is probably where most of you really want tips, is how do I invite? So first of all, be confident. If you are inviting somebody and you're like, hey, so yeah, so do you know anything about essential oils? And you're almost embarrassed. People are not going to be excited. And our job is really to help people understand through our enthusiasm, our authentic enthusiasm, that there is something really wonderful about these oils. And so be positive, be confident, keep it simple. Do not unload like I did lots of times. Yes.
So don't ask if people are interested in, I've seen people that have gone on Facebook and said, if I had a class, who would be interested in coming? I guarantee you're going to get a zero response. Now, if you, like we said, if you build it, they will come. So if instead you picked your date and time and you said, I'm having this amazing class because I have these awesome oils to share and this information that you guys are all going to want to know, that was quite a bit different than who would be interested.
Do you know what? That makes me remember really quickly. I want to tell you, early on, there was a wellness center in my area that I really wanted to share with, and I called and said, hi, thinking I was going to call. I'm just curious, are you guys using essential oils in your wellness center? And they said, no, but we've kind of been interested. And I said, well, if I brought you some information, would you, could we set up a time? Well, let me just pass you off to the person in charge of that. And I just knew it was going to go into email nowhere. And so, anyways, I came back from convention about 2 weeks later, just totally clear on how powerful the oils were. I think it was my first convention, and I called back and I said, you guys are really going to want to know what I have to tell you. And the energy was totally different. And they said, oh, well, okay, yeah, bring some information down. And when I went down there, we're kind of busy. And I said, look, in 30 minutes, I can tell you exactly what you want to know about essential oils. And I ended up enrolling in the Wellness Center. And so, it comes down to a lot of our clarity and our confidence. Like Ellie said, really, really important. So just be positive and be confident. But again, use the permission-based language. I love that. And get a commitment. Don't just give your sample away, but say, will you be able to make it? So will that time work for you? Will be able to make it? Can I count on you, or can I count you in for coming to that class? Really commit people. And then this is really important. Share a sample and personally give the invite. Face-to-face invites are king. If you will, whether it's at school or going to somebody's house, face-to-face is your number one goal. A second, and not so good, is telephone, because you can't give a sample over the telephone. And it's really important that somebody has an oil experience before they come to your class. That won't be the case all the time, but that's what you want to shoot for. You really want people to have experienced it because, how many times, if you've ever had an experience, or maybe you haven't yet, that people come to a class and think, gosh, these sound really good, but I haven't used them yet. I probably need to use them before I decide whether or not I want to purchase them. And so we can just keep flowing our business by giving people the gift of that experience before they come to the class. And then, of course, as Ellie said, always invite 2 to 3 times as many people as you really want to attend the class, just because life gets busy, and that's really the statistic. So if you want 5 to 8 people, I would shoot for 20 people to invite to your class. And the people that say they can't come, they don't just go in the garbage can. They go onto that list of who to be invited to your next class or follow it up with a one-on-one. So,
can I add one thing? I think one of the things we don't have on here is reminders. So you want to, once you get a firm commitment from someone that they're coming, you want to send a reminder about 48 hours before, I think, and then a text reminder the morning of or the night before, depending on what time your class is. And another amazing leader on our team had a really great suggestion, which was to, during your reminder, either the night before or the morning of, ask them, in the text, hey, I'm preparing for my class. What health concerns or goals do you have so that I can be ready for the class? It doesn't matter. You're not going to change the format of the class, but just by asking them that question, get them thinking, well, she's got something powerful to share with me. I better be there.
I love that.
So I think that would be really helpful.
What's the difference for you, Ellie, that you see for people that don't do those reminders and that just kind of invite once? How's the attendance?
Yeah, I think that you will definitely struggle with attendance if you do not remind people, if you're not powerfully inviting, if you're not sharing samples with the invitation, or at least, putting oils on them at some point. I think if you do, only Facebook or only email, you're going to have a real hard time getting people to attend.
And that's sort of hiding too.
Yeah.
It's sort of hiding. It's not wanting to really have a conversation, and just it's so tempting because it's so easy. But yeah.
And don't feel bad. We've all done it. We've all done it many times.
Yeah, we have. Okay, really quickly, the things to avoid: talking too much. I'm really guilty of that because I'm a chatty person. But really, it's just, here's a bottle of lavender. Rub it on your kids' feet before they go to sleep. And, if they've got some sleep struggles, or here's this bottle of Breathe, you're going to put a couple drops, rub it on your chest, inhale it. And, I'd love to check back with you in a couple of days to see how that worked. So first of all, just keep it simple. Don't launch into what an essential oil is and all that kind of stuff. Keep it really simple. Something else to avoid is don't give too many samples. We just want to give them an experience. 1, maybe 2 samples, that's it. The other thing you want to avoid, there was a great webinar. I'll see if I can find it if it's still up and put it on the group. It's the 8 things not to say in a class. It kind of falls in the same category. Don't tell people you don't have to come. You don't have to come because you devalue what you're doing. So don't tell people that they don't have to come. And then don't ask them if they're interested. You want to just assume that they are interested. And the other thing you definitely don't want to do is when you're invited, say, hey, I'm having this class, but don't worry, you don't have to buy anything, because again, it changes the energy and it actually makes people question whether or not you believe in what you're promoting. And so those are things, of course, we're not going to pressure anybody to purchase things, but we don't want to change the energy like that. We want people to purchase because we want them to be empowered. So that's just some tips on things to avoid. Okay. So I think what we'll do now is kind of walk through a little scenario. So how to actually invite somebody, a script, kind of what does it sound like? So I've shared oils with Ellie. We'll just do this. So I shared some Breathe with Ellie, which is true. And so I'm going to follow up with her and invite her to a class. So here we go. I'm at her door.
Hello.
Hi, Ellie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing really good. Hey, listen, I was in your neighborhood, and I was thinking about you, and I wanted to come by and just see how that oil worked out for you. What did you guys like about it?
Yeah, I think it worked. I'm not 100% sure. It could have been coincidence, but I don't know. It was good.
You know what? That's funny that you say that because that happens for a lot of us. Oils are so subtle that sometimes we don't realize that's what's going on. Well, here's the thing. I am really excited about a class I'm having next week. And in that class, you'll learn a little bit more about the different things that oil can be used for, and also some other options that might be really helpful to support your daughter's respiratory system. I would love to invite you. I have an invitation here. Do you think you'd be able to make it next Wednesday at 7?
Yeah, I could probably try to come to that.
Okay, well, that's awesome. I'm going to give you this invitation, and it's actually going to be a voucher. We're doing a little prize drawing for everybody that comes. And so I'm going to count you in, and I'll chat with you again when it gets a little bit closer.
Okay, no problem. Sounds good.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so, here's the thing. I love what you did, Ellie, because Ellie wasn't like, oh, that's amazing. You're going to get some people that are going to be really excited. I'm having a class tonight, and I have a few people that are very excited to be there. But just keep it simple, assume that they want to be there, assume that they're going to come. And then basically right here, we did that. I'm inviting her a week out. And like Ellie said, 2 days before the event, that's perfect. A text or, hey, I was in the neighborhood again. I'm putting together my class materials. Tell me, besides, asthma, what's one more thing that you guys would love a little bit more information on with the essential oils or support with or whatever? Or via phone call or text or whatever. And then same day, and if you follow this might sound like a lot of work, but it's a lot more work to be sad and stressed to give your class if nobody shows up. So just if you'll do these things, I promise you're going to have really good attendance. And then that same day, a text reminder that goes something like this: hey, I'm really excited about the class tonight. Can't wait to see you. Something like that. Or I have a friend who will say, hey, just to let you know, we're going to do an on-time prize drawing for everybody that's on time. So, without saying, I just want to remind you, people don't always want to be, reminded. So that's just some really great ways just to stay connected. So, okay, so now this is really amazing. And this I actually did upload this file, and it's on the Healing Solutions Business Group. But this is, the truth is about our classes is that if we do not leverage other people's networks in those classes, then our business stops. And so we're always wanting to book classes off of classes. And so there's a really, really great method that Diane Shepherd uses, and it's called the golden ticket. And so those same little tickets I was referring to that she carries around in her purse, so basically she passes those out to everybody in her class, and everybody fills one out. And that means she's got their name, their email address, and their phone number. And then there are those boxes that say, or the different questions that say, yes, I'd like to host a class. Yes, I'd like to become an oil educator. Or yes, I want to get my products at wholesale. I'd like to learn more about that. They have an option to check yes, no, and maybe. And so anybody that checks maybe or yes gets to fill, on hosting a class, gets to fill a second slip out. And those slips are put into a bowl for a prize drawing. And so basically it's like if you'll host a class, and then at the end, I love what she does, is that in the end, anybody that checks maybe, she sits down and says, so when would you maybe like to host a class? I love that. But do you have anything to say about the kind of booking classes off classes?
I was just going to say, I recommend that you kind of stop the class in the middle and pass out the sheets and have them fill in at the end, because if you do it at the beginning, they don't really understand the value of the class. And sometimes at the end, you'll either forget or people are running out. So I recommend you stop and say, hey, I'm just going to pause for a minute at this point and pass out these little raffle slips and see if you can fill them out, and then follow through with the rest.
I love that. And then really quickly, we're close to time that we need to end, but really quickly, the hostess gift doesn't need to be anything fantastic. It's wonderful but not expensive. I mean, fantastic but not expensive. That's what I meant. So Carla, who's a silver on our team, orders 16-ounce glass spray bottles from My Oil Business for $2 each, and makes 2 bottles of cleaner, along with a wild orange and a living magazine that came from your class in a box, which we talked about last week. And so puts it in a little cellophane, and it's a wonderful hostess gift, cleaning products for their home. So I love that. So this is just, these are some things that you want to have ready for when you're booking your classes.
Okay. I can't even tell you how many times this is, these wise words have helped me through this. The fortune is in the follow-up, absolutely. If you do not follow up, you will lose people. And I've seen some really fantastic success recently with some leaders who have literally stayed on top of something for, up to 3 months, and it was well worth the wait. And you're going to be successful when you don't really care what the answer is. But, keep in mind, some will, some won't. Who cares? Someone's waiting.
Oh, God, so true.
Okay, and then we have some tasks for this upcoming week. We want you to schedule your classes. Decide, like we said, how many per month you want to have, how fast you want to grow your business. But get some classes on the book. So I recommend 1 to 2 classes before we meet again next week that you have on the book. And then find another 5 people to share samples with this week. Make sure you're meeting with your mentor, following up with them and seeing, how your progress is going for the week. And then obviously continuing to read and feed your brain and your soul. And
every day, yep.
Okay, and then these are just some of the training reminders. Like I said before, we have, we're so very blessed that Wendy and Erin have awesome training opportunities for all of us. So just as reminders, Tuesday at 9:30, we have the Healing Solutions Team call, which has been fantastic. We've started this 6-week boot camp now. You can go back and listen to the recordings from week 1 if you didn't get a chance to listen live. And then we have team training in our area the second Thursday of every month. But if you're not in our area, then connect with us and we'll see if we can find you a team training in your area. And then obviously convention. Convention is a game changer. Mm-hmm. If you can make it to convention, please do. It's going to be awesome.
So good.
And then, make sure that you're still becoming a power user. Are you a power user yet?
I love that. All right. Well, thanks for being on the call today. Hopefully you've got some tools, and if you will do your assignment and follow the methods, you will be successful. So we're excited to meet with you again next week for week 3. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.